Committee to allow PG&E the discretion of either answering it or not answering it. And this is a very important procedure matter. I hope I make that clarification. And therefore now I turn the podium over to Mr. Harbour on the second presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Lam. So our next presentation is going to be on our fire protection system. It's just going to be an update to the committee on our status with fire protection. The presenter is Dave Hampshire. He's our fire protection supervisor. Also 35 years of nuclear experience. Been in fire protection for well over 19 years and has held leadership roles in engineering, regulatory services, and fire protection. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dave.
Thank you, Gary.
Welcome, Mr. Hampshire.
Thank you.
Welcome.
First off, I'd like to say that the health of the fire protection program is healthy. I'd also like to provide an overview today on the DCPP fire protection program, some of the improvements that we're looking at implementing, and a schedule for transition from 10 CFR 50 Appendix R into NFPA 805, the risk-based fire protection program. Okay, as you're aware, the fire protection program is really broken up into three aspects. We have the system engineering portion. System engineer is responsible for performing surveillance test procedures, ensuring the component operation for the fire protection items are acceptable, and for the overall system health. The Appendix R program is there to ensure that we can achieve safe shutdown after a fire and comply with 10 CFR 50 Appendix R requirements. We're also there to review proposed design changes to ensure that any design change is in compliance with our rules and regulations of 10 CFR 50 and our licensing basis that we've established with the NRC. Okay. And also, the other aspect is the DCPP Fire Department, which most people are very familiar with. The fire department, they're there for the protection of the systems, the components, and for emergency responses at the plant. Going back to the system engineering aspect, system engineer is responsible for numerous surveillance tests. Just to name a few, fire protection pumps. There are surveillance tests to ensure that they are operable. We have 4 fire pumps, 2 in the aux building and 2 in the outside that provide water to the outside loop. He also does surveillance tests for the gaseous suppression systems, the fire hose stations, lightning protection, and the fire deluge systems that we have at the plant. In the area of system engineering, the areas for improvement are the replacement of the carbon steel piping. Presently, we have corrosion rates of between 1 to 2 mils per year. So we continually monitor the carbon steel pipes to ensure that they are replaced before they reach a point where they're unacceptable to use. Also, we're looking at the replacement of the underground firewater piping and also replacement of the deluge firewater valves in the turbine building. Okay. As far as internal corrosion of the carbon steel pipes goes, we have actually replaced the firewater piping from the firewater storage tank to firewater pumps 01 and 02 in the aux building, and that was done in 2013. And we are continuing to monitor the containment station header, and we're forecasting to replace that in 2015. And replace the aux building header in 2018 and the turbine building in 2020. And as I had mentioned earlier, we continually monitor the corrosion rate. So these are all forecast dates. So if anything were to change, we would update management and try to expedite that replacement schedule. As far as the underground water goes, the underground water piping, I'd like to point out that 98% of the piping that we have underground is concrete asbestos pipe. Unlike a lot of the other utilities in the industry who use carbon steel pipe, the concrete asbestos pipe isn't susceptible to corrosion aspects, so that isn't a problem at Diablo. However, we do have an issue when we have tie-ins to the concrete asbestos pipe. And there you've got carbon steel piping, which is susceptible to corrosion. So we continue to monitor these tie-ins, the stations, the hydrants, tow stations, and we presently have forecasted for the replacement of these in 2020. So, and just to give you an idea of where we are as far as underground leaks and so forth, from 2003 we've had 4 leaks. 2 of those have been associated with improper coatings. 1 was a gasket failure, and 1 was attributed to, to corrosion. So since 2003, I think we've done a real good job in monitoring the program to ensure that we replace the pipes before we have any sort of situation arises.
Now, Mr. Hampshire, for the concrete asbestos pipe, if you had the need to dig them up or move them around, does OSHA or EPA has jurisdiction?
Only if you have to cut the pipes, and then we have procedures that are in place for asbestos cutting, and there are procedures in effect to ensure that it's not a hazard to the individuals that are removing the pipe. The asbestos is embedded into the concrete, so unless you grind it, cut it, or do something with it, it's not going to become airborne, so it's not going to be a hazard.
But the question is, who has jurisdiction on that issue? You know, is it EPA or is it OSHA?
That I do not know.
I see. Okay. Thanks.
I had a question. You're replacing a lot of carbon steel pipe.
Correct.
And what are you replacing it with? Did you say that and I missed it?
It's a highly corrosion-resistant alloy. It's not stainless steel, but it is a very corrosion-resistant material. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it will definitely last for the remaining life of the plant.
Okay.
One of the things that I also mentioned that we're looking at replacing are the deluge valves. There are 14 of them in the turbine building that we're looking at replacing. These valves were originally built in 1973, so the problem that we're running into is one of obsolescence. It's not necessarily that they're corroding away or anything else, but as the valves have problems with them, we're having issues of getting replacement parts. I mean, we've managed to keep them going. They're operating safely now. It isn't a problem, but we envision in the future that we're going to run into issues. So we're looking at replacing those in 2016. So, and just to give people an example of what a deluge valve is, one valve, once it's initiated, will initiate all of the valves that are in that train and basically deluge the object that it's trying to protect. In this particular slide, there's anywhere from 40 to 50 valves that are going off to protect the transformers. So, the other aspect of our fire protection program is our Appendix R program. And right now we're licensed for 10 CFR 50 Appendix R requirements. It's a deterministic approach where in a PA 805 that I'll talk about in a couple of minutes is a risk-based. One of the things that we do to ensure that we're still in compliance with our 10 CFR 50 Appendix R requirements is we do a review of all of the design change packages that impact fire protection. So we're up to date on what's being changed, where it's being changed, and the impact that it has on our safe shutdown systems. The other thing that we do is we take a look at all of the maintenance activities that are being performed in the plant. If they impact the fire protection program, we will be evaluating them and providing compensatory measures whether it's fire watches, additional hose stations being, laid out or whatever. So we've got compensatory measures in place if we have to impact our systems that we rely upon for safe shutdown. Areas of improvement. The main area of improvement for the fire protection program is maintaining our 3-hour fire-rated barriers, and in particular, the doors that are associated with them. As was brought up earlier in the presentation or discussions today, we're having issues with our doors. Since the beginning of this year, we've replaced 6 of them, and we have approximately 10 more to replace to ensure that our Appendix R program is up to date. Right now, we have the repairs forecasted for completion in 2015.
Please give me an education. Why does it take so long to replace a door?
Have to wait sometimes.
The doors have a lead time of approximately 2 months to provide. These are heavy-duty doors. They're 3-hour rated doors. The normal door is anywhere from 18 to 20 gauge. Okay, ours are, can't even read it, 12 to 14 gauge. So it's of a thicker material. They have to, gear up to produce these doors. There's a 2-month lead time on them, so it takes a while to get them built.
It's not something you can order from Home Depot, right?
And and that was one of the things that I was going to mention. These are not your basic Home Depot doors.
Sure.
So,
Thanks.
and it takes a while. There's special, craft that installs them, and it does take a while to get it into the work week schedule to ensure compensatory measures are established. So there's a litany of items that have to kind of fall into place to replace these doors.
Did you say they had 18 hinges?
Pardon me?
Did you say they had 18 or 20 hinges on the door?
No, there's only usually about 4 hinges.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
But
So then what's left? Are these 10 doors that you listed?
yes, the 10 doors are the only ones left for ensuring that our Appendix R program is brought back into its original design.
Okay. Are there then others that are also going to be done? I'm just asking.
Yes,
based on what you
there are
said.
other doors in the plant that are being worked continually.
Okay.
The Appendix R doors were moved up in the priority schedule just so we could get our program back, to where it should be now.
Do you have a sense of how many of these other doors there are too?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
100 though. Okay.
The other aspect is our DCP Fire Department, and it's one of 3 full-time dedicated fire departments. It's made up of 3 crews. They're there at the plant 24/7. You've got 2 fire captains and 4 firefighters. Some of the additional activities that they perform while they're there, besides fighting fires and life safety, is performance of surveillance tests and maintenance on their equipment. And I'd also like to point out that to ensure that there's a good interaction between the Diablo Canyon Fire Department and the CAL FIRE, they get together on once a month to have drills and so forth. So there is good interaction. So if by chance there is a fire at Diablo, the 2 can interact and fight it effectively. As I'd mentioned, we're now licensed to 10 CFR 50 Appendix R, but we're in the process of transitioning to a risk-based fire protection program, which is known as NFPA 805 throughout the industry. We submitted our license amendment request to the NRC in June 26th of 2013, and we're expecting an NRC inspection the 14th and 18th of July, and the issuance of the SE and the license amendment in June of 2015. Some of the modifications that we're doing in preparation for the transitioning to NP 805 is the electrical raceway fire barrier systems, which is a polite way of saying that we're wrapping electrical circuits with fire wrap. We'll be wrapping these circuits to a 3-hour tested configuration in accordance with ASTM E119. So they'll be protected. The schedule for that implementation is 2015 for Unit 1 and 2016 for Unit 2. The other modification we're making is to the hot shutdown panel. Right now we've got some instrumentation that is at a remote location where operations has to send an individual out to get the readings and then relay them to the individual at the hot shutdown panel. What this modification will do is it will take those and permanently move them to the hot shutdown panel so the operator will have that information at his fingertips if an event should arise. That modification is scheduled for 2015 for Unit 1 and 2016 for Unit 2. And the last modification was the implementation of the incipient fire detection system, and that will be in the cable spreading room. And what that does is it sniffs for a potential fire, and it will allow the operators, in advance notice if a fire was occurring, anywhere from, several hours to several days. So it'll allow the operators a chance to go down, sniff the particular cabinets, see what component is starting to fail, and take it out of service or do something to eliminate the potential for the fire.
Oh, I see. So this is something that is done locally with when the operator goes down, as opposed to having a remote type of thing that would.
What will happen is there will be an alarm.
There would be.
To alert the operators that you've got not necessarily a fire in progress, but an indication of a fire. And what they will do is they will go down to the electrical cabinets and they will have sniffers. And they will use these sniffers to go around to the cabinets to narrow it down. And then once they do that, then they can go into the cabinet and sniff more to find exactly the component that's overheating, giving off the gas, etc.
Have other facilities done that kind of thing?
Pardon me?
Have other facilities installed this kind of thing already?
Other utilities?
Even non-plant, other
They
companies besides
have
plants?
installed them.
Yeah.
There was one plant that actually got an alarm. They went down and sniffed it, and it actually wasn't in the cabinet that had the incipient detection. The failed component was in another cabinet, but there was enough off-gas given from that one cabinet to migrate to the cabinet where the incipient detection was in and give the operators an indication that there was something going on. So it's been proven through the industry that it's very effective, and we'll be implementing it. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a real step up for detecting fires before they happen.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. You didn't mention it, but I know part of your fire protection program is the control of combustible materials that are
it is.
stored around the plant or places they can't be stored. Can you give us an idea how that program is working? Are you finding problems with stuff stored where it shouldn't be, et cetera?
Actually, it's gotten better through the years. Management has given it a lot more focused attention. And as a result of that, the individuals are taking out transient combustible permits. They're inspecting their transient combustible permits on a weekly basis and updating them. More and more people are taking out permits. I'm seeing a vast increase in transient combustible permit requests. So I would say that the program is working very, very efficiently. I mean, we still run into issues, but as a whole, I think we're doing quite well.
So have you had any fires in the last couple of years?
The only fires that we have had have dealt with the transformers that have been, large enough to where they would have to put, water or foam on them. I know they've responded to the small fires, like in the admin building, where people have cooked popcorn and stuff like that and set off the detectors, but nothing of any significance.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bennis, comments on Mr. Hampshire's report? No. I guess now...
No, we did a fact-finding recently. No, it's great.
Great. Thank you for a well-prepared presentation. We now entertain public remarks on Mr. Hampshire's report. Please address your comments to the committee.
Rochelle Becker, Executive Director, Alliance for Nuclear